Kiba, I see you, girl. I turned on my mic just so I can say something to you. You and Brand Flakes on Instagram. I appreciate you. Oh, I forgot you can hear me now. I got my mic on. Forgive me. I'm wilding out, family. I got so much going on. Well, not so much, but wound up talking with a friend that I ain't talked to in a minute. I wound up. I met them in Milwaukee, man, and I went to Milwaukee in for never 2010. Yeah, I'll crap about that. Where we at? I'm trying to get my mind together. Hold on. Front cam. Here we go. All right, family. We on the throat this week, so it's extra, 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 extra. Oh, what? What's going on? We had some drops? Oh, no, never mind. It was telling me my microphone was muted because I cut it off. All right, so glad to be back with you for another episode of Swami Live. I hope you've been having a fantastic week since the last time we were together. I look forward to wrapping up the direct connection, finding our blessings. We are on the last one. We are on our mental body, and we will pay attention. We've already identified the generational curses, so we will spend some time this episode on our mental, identifying the generational blessings, the direct connection to what am I looking at? All right. Okay, let me get this last shout out. If you're feeling lucky and you want to join the live, you can get you a nice little energy reading. Um, it's pretty painless. It definitely allows you to identify the different energies you are dealing with. Oh, okay, there we go. It's on the screen now. Boop, boop, boop. Make sure I close some of this stuff out so we won't be having no issues. Again, all right, now I'm focused. You got me, family. So glad to be back with you for another episode. Again, I hope you've been having a fantastic week. If you are new here with the Soul Family, this is Soul Family, Soul Swami Live. What we do here is we discuss all things healing in various forms. We do homework. As a matter of fact, last week we just did an exercise that allow us to flesh out our vision for our family structure. But we do it through homework, exercises. We do live energy readings, discussions, prompt questions, all of those things to help us create a safe space for healing and vulnerability, growth, and maturity. Um, you generally can catch us every Tuesday and Thursday. Thursday is book club. It is a spinoff of our Tuesday night show, in an effort for us to reconnect with that child in us. So that is what Thursday night is. And you can catch us on the YouTubes. We are on YouTube, Facebook. What is it? Twitch, And I guess I'll keep on saying Instagram now since Instagram been holding on. Even though it's still a little jittery, I'll give it a pass. Um, TikTok the only one to give us a hard time. And that is every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. At the beginning of every show, we generally do some energy work, which is we focus on a chakra and we do some work on that. So this week we are on the throat, which is good. Throat is about your authenticity, which is fantastic. Once we start recognizing our blessings, we can live a more authentic life. It is about your communication, how well you do that, your confidence, how you value communication from others. It is your expression and your truth, the multiple truths. The color for your throat is light blue. The element is ether. If you are into essential oils, you want to think chamomile, peppermint, cypress, bergamot. All of those are very, very good things for your, throat chakra. And then if you are into crystals and gemstones, you want to think turquoise, aquamarine. I need some aquamarine. I've always loved aquamarine. So lapis lazuli, blue lace agate, and whatever this is on my knuckle. All right, so after we do that, we do a little sound therapy. And I start with my small bowl, which coincidentally, it is set to the frequency of your throat. So relax and allow the sounds to soothe you. My communication been bad, eh? And listen, my left ear has been itching several times this week. And I have been under the impression that there's some feminine energy that is talking about me. I hope that feminine energy is saying something good. So for our breathing exercise, we will do 4-7-8. If you are unfamiliar with 4-7-8 breathing exercise, fantastic thing about it is all you have to do is follow my directions and focus in on your breathing. It is an exercise where you breathe in for a 4 count, you hold for a 7 count, and you breathe out for an 8 count. So all you need to do during this period is just focus in on your breathing and clearing your stress from the day, your worries, your burdens, and listen to the sound of my voice. So on the count of 3, we will start the 4-7-8 breathing exercise. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Release 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Release 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time, family. Breathe in 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Release 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And whether your eyes are open or closed, I want you to visualize in your hands you have the ability to shape the ether and the reality that you want. So have your hands making a circle, shaping whatever you need. And as you are shaping your reality, I want you to repeat these affirmations after me. Shape these affirmations into your reality with me. I speak and hear the truth. I communicate honestly. I live an authentic life. I am fearless and free. I trust what I have to say. I speak and hear truth. I communicate honestly. I live an authentic life. I am fearless and free, and I trust what I have to say. All right, family. Let's get this party started. Are we on side camera? I don't know. I think we're just gonna kind of get into this week. I had a couple of things we want to talk about. General conversation first, but I know the mental section is kind of long. Straighten out my bow tie. Keep getting a look twisted, and I don't like that. I need to look legit on camera. I'm tripping. But I think like the mental, I don't know. These blessings have definitely taken up some time, and I want to be able to honor that. So I'm going to spend our time on the blessings, and then if we have time at the end, I'll go back to the general discussion. We are on the mental for this week, and ironically, the mental body is the body that is most affected by our ideas of our generational curses. The mental is the most affected by our burdens from our blessings, right? But let's review some of the things we've already discussed. Do 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 do. So, if you will hear us with us on part 1, then you remember the emotional generational curses. We went and took time and identified at least 25 generational curses, which there definitely could be more. And I think that was very important. Again, and I say this because we talk a lot about generational curses, but very few people have actually named that generational curse so that they can equip themselves with the appropriate tools to be able to break that curse. Like, people are applying the wrong tools to the wrong thing and all types of things. Like, sometimes we try to fix the wound, the wipe up the blood, but we don't take the time to stitch up the wound. So we broke these 25 generational curses into which one of our 4 bodies that it would affect the most. That is the emotional, spiritual, physical, and like I said, the last one that we'll do today is the mental. So your mental, your emotional, generational blessings. So you struggle with emotional suppressing because you focus too much on the burden of your emotional openness and healthy expression. Your focus is on the times where that didn't work, but your gift resides in your emotional openness and healthy expression. Healthy expression. You have those shame and guilt cycles that a lot of us, I identify that guilt is one of the things that my family fight with. But one of your gift is your self-compassion and emotional freedom, giving yourself the permission to actually feel the wide range of emotions that we encounter as humans on this world. Fear of intimacy and vulnerability. And it's ironically, many of us don't like to say that as fear. We guise that fear with all types of words, especially that one of protection, like protecting our peace, protecting our peace. But you don't need to fear. You're focusing on the burden. Your authenticity resides in your gift of safe connection and emotional trust. Your gift is creating that. So if you can create that, your gift is also to recognize that space. You can do that. It is chronic victim mentality. Those people who think that life is happening to them and not for them. We're moving from that space into empowerment and personal responsibility. We empower ourselves to make better choices. We empower others to make better choices. But we start with personal responsibility. That guilt, the trauma, the things that we feel about that is holding us back. But our personal responsibility, we take accountability for the choices that we have made that led us to the life. We take accountability for our subconscious thoughts that manifest the reality that we see in our lives, right? Again, we talked about it. The subconscious produces 90% of your reality, right? So if you don't like your reality, it's because you're not moving in an authentic way. Unresolved grief. Your gift is in healing through mourning and remembrance. Toxic relationship patterns, which so many people are protecting themselves from. That fear of intimacy. Toxic relationship patterns. Your gift resides. You will find your strength and authenticity in healthy boundaries and mutual respect. As I talked about it before, respect is a very important thing for me, to the point that you cannot love me as long as you respect me. I wouldn't know the difference, right? So your gift resides in healthy boundaries. So move authentically with healthy boundaries and mutual respect. Respect for man, respect for woman, respect for child, respect for life, respect for death. That is where your gift resides. Comparison and competition. What we do with that, your gift resides in celebration of individuality and unity. You don't compare, you break down those barriers and walls, so stop comparing yourself. You focusing on the wrong side, flip that over and recognize that your gift resides in breaking down those walls, and you celebrate individuality, including what makes you special, and unity. You bring people together. Again, lack of emotional availability, your gift resides in being present, not worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow, not harping on what has happened yesterday, but being available for your life today. Empathy and emotional support. Some of us have emotional fatigue from residing too much in that emotional support. But it is okay to give yourself a break and to breathe. As a matter of fact, that empathy and that presence and that emotional support definitely includes yourself, right? The next one we did was physical generational curses and blessings, poor eating habits. Your gift resides in nutritional awareness. I love snacks, but it's funny. As you see, I've been posting more videos of the food that I cook, and that's really about nutritional awareness and balanced meals. I love snacks, but that food does something for me. So I'd like to see what nutritious food and balanced meal. Lack of exercise. You need an active lifestyle and movement. Understand, my main example of movement that we used was dancing. So many of us used to love dancing, and we no longer do that. Active lifestyle does not limit you to just going to the gym and exercise. An active lifestyle is a lifestyle of movement. The movement helps you think, which is funny. I've been seeing this thing where people have been relating movement, specifically stuff like yoga, to demonic practices. Very interesting perspective, to say the least. But your gift resides in movement. That's probably why you can dance so well, right? Substance abuse. We noticed that, we recognize that in our family, but that is because we focus so much on the burden. But our gift resides in sobriety and healthy coping mechanisms. And the healthiest coping mechanism that I've ever experienced is one that is a space of vulnerability and openness. The amount of strength that it takes to be that, and the amount of freedom that you get from being that. So reside in your authenticity. Physical abuse. You have the ability to create physical safety and nurturing environments. As a matter of fact, a lot of those parents or adults who talk about that gentle parenting, although they don't always get it right, this is where that resides. They probably more than likely were children who had whippings growing up, and as they got older, they wanted to do something a little different. They didn't want to reside in this is the way that we know how to discipline our children. There's another way that we can show them love without physically harming them, and they become people who create physical safe spaces and nurturing environments. And it does not matter if you are male or female, we both have a role in creating physical safety and nurturing environments. So don't worry about the harm, or don't worry what will happen if you don't apply whoopings. Reside in your authenticity and understand the nurturing environment and the safety that you create for your family will reverberate through every level, right? Neglect of health and wellness. This is one where your gift resides in prioritizing self-care and health education. Really understanding how vitamins and minerals work in your body. You want to start thinking about teas and supplements. That's where that nutritional awareness and balanced meals comes in. And the most important thing is about that is you prioritize. Not only do you think about it, not only do you tell every other people to do it, you make it one of your top priorities to reside in your authentic self, which is prioritizing your self-care. I use an example of my Sundays, generally my self-care days, and most of the people who talk to me know that. So they be like, are you busy Sunday? Are you doing something Sunday? I'm like, yeah. And I generally got time. But I like everybody to know that that is my me day, guaranteed gonna be a me day. And it is okay for you to create space in your life, for you to prioritize your self-care and expand the idea of what that is. Because if you are not prioritizing it, it may be because you have a limited idea of what self-care is. And part of this this healing process has been expansion. And one of the expansions has been self-care, but the other one has also been this idea of self-love that people talk about so much. Like, what is self-love and how do you show that to yourself? So prioritizing your well-being is your gift. So no need to feel guilty about that, right? Don't neglect your health. Prioritize it, right? Overwork and burnout. Your gift resides in work-life balance and restorative rest. You are losing value in your life by working 3, 4, 5 jobs, working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. You are losing your gift because you're not using it. Work-life balance. Once you create that work-life balance for yourself, so many things will come to fruition that you wouldn't have got just from working alone. Your gift resides in balance in life. Next, we do spiritual generational curses, religious shame. Your gift is spiritual freedom and acceptance. Fear-based teaching, speaking about God punishes and you only get your blessings in afterlife. You recognize that love-based faith. We are no longer looking for a God-fearing man or woman. We live in a space of love-based faith. You hear me? So we are looking for those who love the interconnectedness of all things, who love life, who love God, all of these things, who really believe that you can experience God and all his greatness right now. You don't have to wait. You live and attract with your heart, the most magnetic organ you got. Also, suppression of spiritual identity, you find an authentic spiritual expression. As a matter of fact, one of the great questions that I asked one of my clients not too long ago is, how do you honor your spirit? What are you doing to honor your spirit? So you find ways that are authentic to you. So that means you may pick a little bit from here. You may pick a little bit from there. We always say, eat the meat and spit out the bones. But you find a path that is authentic for you, that resonates with you, that heals, supports, and replenishes your spirit. Disconnected from ancestral traditions, you want to reconnect with the heritage and faith. The example I used last week is my homeboy providing his sister with some sand, some dirt from their family land. And she gonna mix that dirt in with the plants that she grow at home. Reconnecting with the heritage and rituals of her family. Personal relationship with faith. Rigid spiritual expectations are blocking you from building a true personal relationship with faith. You are letting somebody else tell you too many times what your faith should be, how you honor yourself, how you honor God, and you have not developed your own personal relationship. So we will stop moving from a space of someone else telling us what it is and to a space where we develop our own personal relationship from the work that we put in to build our faith. Silence around identity. Your gift is in open dialogue. You create spaces for people to feel safe enough to have the conversations, and you put people in spaces that allow them to explore their beliefs. You ask the right questions. You don't always come with the answers, but you ask the right questions to allow people to explore their beliefs. I don't know if she's on here now, but I'm thinking about my friend Kat. She generally does this activity 21 questions on TikTok on Sunday nights. And ironically, I've seen this space grow into exactly that, a space for open dialogue, and it allows the people who join her panel to explore their beliefs, right? That is her gift, and I love to see her live authentically in it. Limiting beliefs, specifically around religion, genders, these are what do they call them? Gender roles. That's what I was thinking of. Gender roles. But those gender roles are creating the prison that you want to escape, especially if you disagree with them or you feel like they don't align with your life, that keeps you trapped. You reside in a space of growth mindset and possibility thinking. So we understand that just because a man does it today does not mean a woman cannot do it tomorrow. That is possibility thinking. The possibilities change, and we put the person who's most equipped to be able to handle those skills. So you understand that roles are important, but they ain't always genderized. So you're moving from that in a growth mindset. So as we learn, we expand our knowledge and our information, just like we used as we talked about the idea of self-care and self-love. The way we've expanded those ideas are definitely a real life, authentic way that we can talk about growth mindset and possibility thinking. And the last one is silence around abuse and trauma. But your gift resides in open dialogue and healing transparency. For me, this is one of the good ones. I feel like this is one of the ones I reside in. So we create this space together, Soul Family, to create open dialogue. And one thing that we do, whether it's the people that do have the live energy readings or people in the comments or people who whatever, we create that healing transparency, that healing energy where people come in and they understand that this is a space where we are going to heal. You dig? Let me see. What's going on, family? Hey, Tisha. Yes, you want to join to do a reading tonight? Or do you want to do it on your own? Because you want to do it on you. You want to do it tonight, we can knock it out. It's very simple. So let me know. And I'm sure the people would love to see it. Now, I will say this. They can get emotional. And if we get to a space where it may be too much for you to share with the public, we can discuss anything that's a little private for you and anything a little too personal offline. So we keep the online stuff a little bit safe. But you'll know. So if you want to do it, hit me up. I mean, I see your comments now, so just let me know. And I'm glad you can join. Speaking of the devil, I just said that I was just talking to a friend that I hadn't talked to in a long time, and I was talking about you. Boo, boo, boo. Where we at? So now we are on the mental, which is the last body. Mental generational curses and our blessings. Let me see where you at. All right, so if you see that link, you on Facebook, hit that second link. I think it's on there twice. If you using an Android, you probably gonna have to copy the link and put it in Google, or when it gives you the option, hit the three little dots up in the corner of your screen and then go to Google. But if you on iPhone, it should take you straight there. This will be exciting. I might have to cut on a little bit of light for you, girl, so we can hear you. All right, while we getting that together, just come back. Tatiana, you actually putting words in the chat. Whoop, whoop, whoop. You deserve a round of applause. Thank you. I appreciate you. Oh, I got Android too, so that ain't no hate. Trust me, I'm gonna keep me a Samsung phone, which is funny because I didn't like them before, but they've gotten a lot of better. So I'm not an iPhone person. Just for some reason, with Android, it makes you do an extra step sometimes. And I don't think it's the Android. I think it's Streamlabs. Streamlabs be on some interesting things sometimes. You dig? And it takes about an hour or more, depending on how open and vulnerable you are in this process. So, yeah, I just did one. I promise you, we only did one energy point, and that took an hour and a half. So, you know what I mean? I appreciate you. Trust me. I'll be gentle with you. I won't, yeah, I'll be gentle with you. And for the most part, you guide the process, so it's all on you. But while we're getting that together, I'll continue talking about, hey, dog whisper. Perfect time. As a matter of fact, when we do this energy reading, you need to share the live with some of your people so they can see how it goes down. A lot of people fear the unknown, and one of the things we do here is try to remove the mysticism. And everybody, when they don't really know about it, they think it's mystic, but it ain't mystic at all. I'm a scientist person, so it'd be fantastic. And Tisha, I'm glad you came because I was saying I need to do that. All right, so mental generational curses and the mental generational blessing that we deal with. The first generational curse that we identify is the mental health stigma, the fear around being labeled, the fear around being mistreated, whether it's value, whether it's true, not true, whether it has merit to have that fear or not, is regardless, is keeping you trapped, right? So your gift resides in mental health awareness. You really do get informed about mental challenges, mental disabilities, mental health, how to help someone create some sort of mental stability, how to create that for yourself, even if it's through knowledge, diagnosis, diet, whatever. And your gift resides in supporting of these individuals. I'm sure many of you may have been in a space, even I have asked this. You sit around and you ask yourself, like, man, why do I keep attracting all these crazy people? Right? And you want, oh shit, wait a minute. I gotta turn on collab cam. What we doing? I forgot I didn't have that turned on. That'd be my problem. I'll be telling people to join the live, and I don't even be having the camera turned on, which is brazy. Brazy. So forgive me, family. I just guess it's joined. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, you can hear me. Hold on. Let me put on some headphones so we can get this party started. Can you hear me? I see you. I see you, family. Can you hear me? Hold on. Let me see. Can you hear me now? Where you at, girl? Did you hide your camera? Don't hide yourself, girl. Don't worry, we ain't gonna bite. I did this. What we doing? We gotta turn up some sound. Hello, Governor?
What is happening? Can you hear me now?
Oh, yep, I hear you. I hear the babies and everything in the background. How you
Okay.
doing, girl?
That's strange. Looks like Detective Mom's
You
got
don't
some
want to be
more.
on camera. Don't be ashamed.
Cause I'm nervous as shit right now, but
Listen,
I
breathe,
support,
baby.
and
No,
so
here we go.
I'm excited to see what's about to happen right now too.
Hey, listen. Just breathe. You know I'm gonna be good to
Hold
you.
on,
It's
let me
gonna
go
be
in the
good.
meeting room.
Yeah.
Looks like we
Give
have
yourself some
another
space so
case
you
for
can talk if you need
Detective
to.
Mom. Let's see what it's like to put a bath bomb in the toilet. Oh my gosh, guys!
All
Okay.
right, there we go. Come on, camera girl. Don't be ashamed. You don't look ugly. Don't be scared. You know what I mean? Trust me, I have people, yeah, look all types of ways on here.
No, you said this might get deep, and so that's why I'm like, let me.
Yeah, don't be
Oh,
ashamed. I done had people cry and
now
everything.
I might be looking great. Like I might end up looking crazy. You might say some shit, and I might just,
Yeah, don't be
mouth drop or
ashamed.
something. Like I'm scared.
Don't be afraid, girl.
You know.
I know I'm not even finna act like the fear is abnormal. It is normal. But I need you to know that you're in safe hands. So you don't gotta be afraid. I'll make sure I don't embarrass you and you ain't finna look
I can
bad on
barely
this,
hear you.
okay? Yeah, I'm using my sexy voice now, so don't worry about that. There we go.
Oh shit.
All right, so here I go. So it's pretty painless. So generally, all I do is I got these pendulums. Wait a minute, where we at? Okay, here we go. Pendulums, and I just hold them up, right? And we just look for it to spin. So either it's not gonna spin, it's gonna spin a little bit, or sometimes that thing get ham sandwich and it spin. Like so, when I first got it done, mine spun like that, and I thought it was fake. I was like, that shit can't be real. There's no way. But after they laid some hands on me, it didn't spin like that. My energy was balanced. Then after we look at the spin, I got this little cheat sheet that I use, right?
Okay.
And I just read words off the cheat sheet. And whatever just kind of
Can
speaks to my spirit, that's what we go for and we talk about, right?
you please stop? Look at this. 1 second, please.
Nope, do your thing, baby.
Yeah, either I'm gonna get away from them or they just gonna come follow me. It's crazy.
They still gonna follow you though, cause everybody who got
What
kids.
happened to my headphones? Where's my headphones? What are you doing over there? Okay, go under there and get them. I'm sorry. Are
Nope,
you
don't be
the one
sorry.
who made the
I know you
Kool-Aid blending
multitasking.
method? Huh?
I say, I don't be sorry. I know you multitasking. I appreciate you joining the show.
Yeah, I'm on some masters. I sat back, I listened to you. I was like, okay, this is up my alley.
All right. Hey, Mama Hilliard. I'm giving a shout out. Okay, so this is how we gonna do it. I'll let you pick which one you want, what pendulum you want to use. So I got this yellow one, right? I got this blue one.
Okay.
I got this purple one,
Okay.
and I got the black one. So just trust yourself. Just go whichever one your spirit's like. Pick that one.
I'm gonna go with purple only because you ain't got no green.
All right. Okay, so cool. So I generally ask that because it gives me some idea. Each one of these colors means something to me. I went on my own spirit trip, so when I'm dealing with somebody and they pick the color, then I kind of know what we're gonna be dealing with. So this should be fun. All right. So generally, I'm gonna start with your crown, and we're just gonna work our way down. We're gonna stop. We're gonna look at the spin, and we're gonna talk about them. All right. Now, if you don't see it spin, don't worry. At some point, you're going to see it spin. Because generally, most people's energy is off. So we don't see a lot of spin, or we see too much spin when we get, as we go down through them. But as we move around, you get some spin, or if you don't, I'll do mine. And you can see the difference. right. You still there? Hold on. Hello, Governor? Oh, there you go. Here we go. So we're gonna start with your crown. Your crown really sits above your forehead, but it is your thoughts and all that stuff. So let's see. All right. So that's good. At least your crown moving a little bit. So let's see what we dealing with here. Ooh, Oh, okay, cool. Um. Okay, so something that's doing good with you is you do, as crazy as it is, even through your struggle times and rough times, you do experience moments of joy, and you really do value those moments of joy, right? Um, you are aware of your individuality as a person, even though you're in a space where you're still trying to shape what that looks like, because you're in a space where you are very clear between an old you and a new you, right? So you're aware of your individuality, but you want to make sure that it's more you and not your experiences, right?
Mhm.
Good thing is you still compassionate, right? Which is good. Now the things that need a little you need to think about and process as you're dealing with it is you craving attention, right? And generally when I say crave attention, most people start thinking about like social media attention or negative attention or anything like that. But specifically for you, and it's a wild thing about it because most of the people who have this is it's really a need to be seen, right? So as you interact and you travel, you live your life, you just really want somebody, okay, to see you for who you are. You really want to be seen for how kind you are. You really want to be seen for how loving you are. You really want to be respected for those things, right? And you're not getting enough of that. So you're craving that type of attention, right? The funny thing about that is most of the people who crave that attention do not live in a life that is vulnerable enough for people to be able to see them. Like for myself, I recognize the reason why a lot of people didn't know me is because I ain't let them know me. I ain't let them see me. So you got to find a space where you can be vulnerable enough for people to actually see you, right? I see you a lot of people deal with this over erotic imagination, right? And generally when I say over erotic imagination, it definitely does mean erotic like sexual, but it also means that it's one of those things like them overthinkers, right? So you can get stuck in thinking about all the possibilities and running cycles, think about all the possibilities, and you have a creative mind. So your mind will create infinite amount of possibilities, and that drives you crazy, right?
Mhm.
You struggle with being misunderstood, and I think as you get your voice back, and as you flesh out your truth, you'll do a little better about being misunderstood, right? You know what I mean? Because yeah, I'll just leave it at that. You struggling with having fun, which is funny because you feel joy, but you're struggling with having fun. But your struggle with having fun resides in that space of that new you and the old you, right? So some of the things that you used to do to have fun, you don't kind of want to do anymore. One of the things,
Exactly.
one of the things I kind of thought about, not thought about, but helped me understand what this was saying was somebody was like, if you celebrate the same way you cope, there's a problem. And that's one of the things that you're dealing with now. You celebrate the same way you cope. So you're trying to find new ways to be able to have fun. You know what I mean? Du- 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 du. Okay, so which is funny because the last one is unaware of or denying your spiritual connection. So you not denying it at all. You know you survived a lot of little things. You've been through a lot, right? And you know that whether it's energy, God, however you see it, you know you've had some support, ancestors, however you see it, you've had that. But the thing that you kind of unaware of is how strong that spiritual connection is, right? So as you wind up living a little more authentic as yourself, um, your blessings and your abundance will come through because you'll be living in a way that you understand that, for lack of better words, God got your back. You know what I mean? Your ancestors got your back. So a lot of things that you worried about in your old self, you won't worry about in your new self, right? So you unaware of how powerful you are and how connected to the source you really are. So then I ask you, does any of those really resonate with you? Is it something I said and you were like, that's the one? Or is it something that you like, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. The thing about this is, as you think about it, you think about your life and then you think about the lives of people around you. Because one thing about energy is people don't like responsibility for their own lives. And they'll be quick to give somebody else the responsibility. So some of the energy that you have will be yours. And some of it will be the energy of the people or the things you have around you. But you'll know the difference. So again, any of those wind up resonating with you? You said yes?
Princess, close the door. What do you want? Okay, leave me alone.
Any of those hit you the hardest?
All of them.
All of them? Is there any
Hmm.
one of them that you like to talk about a little bit more, or
Um,
nah,
I
not
think
yet?
probably not. I probably not knowing how to have fun now because I'm a mom now, so I just be weirded out by everything. Um, Not yeah, I don't do a lot of the things I used to do, and I will also say like I've actually that's the LLC that I opened up is actually um was actually an online store for stones and candles
Oh
and
yeah.
all that good stuff, incense and stuff. I'm very big on meditation actually. Um, very in touch with my inner witchery, inner witches. I
Okay,
was born into it.
I got you.
Um,
I got you. All right, we on purple. So we gonna go to your intuition now. All right, and that
mhm.
intuition resides in your forehead. So when people talk about the third eye, that's what they talk about, your intuition. So, whoo, do do do. Let's see. All right. Um, let's see what we're dealing with on your intuition. It ain't off, which is good. Good thing is you still charismatic. You just said it, so you can meditate. That's good. Now see what one of your things. Okay. All right. So do 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 do. You charismatic. You still very intuitive. And you can meditate. So those are things that are doing fantastic for you. Um, you struggle with figuring out what your purpose is, right? And I think that's kind of good because not that it makes sense right now, but I think after we do this, like once I finish up the generational curses stuff, we're going to start fleshing out how to um, flesh out our vision for our lives. You know what I mean? So I'll give you some homework or something that you can work on to help with that. But you unsure about your purpose, um, you space out, you worry, and which is crazy because I just I'm gonna say you seem sometimes it seems like you living in a fantasy world, but I really think that worry is kind of tied to the fantasy. You know what I mean? You're struggling to see the bigger picture right now. Do do do, and you're dealing with self doubt. You dealing with some sort of influence. On my paper says can be easily influenced, but I don't think that's the right words. But I definitely think you are battling with outside influences, and it may be in that. As a matter of fact, it's like when they say Jesus had to leave Bethlehem because it said a man is without honor only in his own home. So sometimes when you decide to move on and be a new person, sometimes people only see what you used to be. So I don't know if that's where you battling with the influence people. You don't want to do something different, but you battling with some sort of influence. Not that you easily influence, but I don't
I know
quite
what
know the
that
words.
is. That's crazy. That's scary right there because I know exactly what the battle is.
Okay, so that means we ain't
That
finna
is
say.
weird.
Nah, this okay. So let me explain how this work, right? So one of the things that I try to do is take away the mysticism, right? Because when people do stuff like this, it look like magic, but it's not fucking magic, right? So
Right,
I majored in science. So if I'm doing it, it has to have some science background. And one thing
right,
that we know through the laws of thermodynamics, I talk about it all the time. Very few things in science are laws, but when it's a law, it's for real. Everything else is a damn theory. The laws of thermodynamics knows that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. So even though I
right,
use this pendulum just winds up creating a visual for you to see because we can't see the
right,
energy. You know what I mean? And for me, I can't really see it. Some people are better at seeing energy auras and stuff like that. But that's not me. But I can feel it. You know what I mean? Something feel off.
right.
Something ain't right. So I feel it. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. You know what I mean? We just trying to
Hmm.
figure out the change of energy. So it ain't no mysticism to it. Ain't no magic to it. And the thing about it is, I can only feel what you allow me to feel. So like when you like, all right, I do want to work on this stuff, then I can feel the vibe. You know what I mean? So that's why if you're dealing with it, I could tell that you open to this. You nervous. I could feel the nervousness myself. You know what I mean? You nervous. You worried that something that you don't want to come out, or you might got there and get emotional or something like that. But don't worry about that. So you do know what the influence is, but it's not one we're gonna talk about online, right?
Right.
Okay, cool beans. Do any one of the other ones stick out to you? What about worrying?
Every day. I'm a mom now. I worry every day.
Um,
I didn't think that that was like what being a mom was like, but it is. When you a mom that actually care, yeah, it's like every day is a worry.
okay. So we're gonna have to figure out to flip that coin over from a worry into a space of confidence, right? And that's where you are recognizing your gift. That's the good thing about let's talking about these generational curses so we can see the blessings, right? And one of them specifically is about worrying. And the gift that winds up being that is planning and like the nurturing environments. So once you build your confidence in yourself, and the decisions that you're making and things like that are just your knowledge base on, because there is no parenting handbook, right? But
Right.
there are ways that you can learn more about parenting. So many parents take parenting as on the job training, and that's why they
Right.
stress themselves out. Like, there are people who have been parents and been writing books. There are programs, there are things that can help you, and not to say that you will use those things, but just knowing that they're out there, those things that help you a little bit more, you know what I mean? And as you
Right.
deal with some of your own experiences, you'll be able to provide proper guidance for your children, right? So a lot of people, they worry about their children repeating some of the mistakes that they made, right?
Right.
But that's the reason why you be
Oh,
vulnerable.
my daughter, she is a little me. It's so ghetto.
So let me tell you this, right? So as she get older, nobody gives a shit about your advice. So even though that's your baby girl, and as she gets older, she
Back
does
up.
not care about your advice. So you can have these experiences that you had, and you can
What
want
does
to
that
give her.
mean? What does that mean?
I'm about to tell you what it means. So, what you need to tell her when you have these conversations is you don't need to give her advice. You need to give her your testimony. So you need to be vulnerable enough to tell her exactly what you went through and all these things. And I say that because what winds up happening is she may create a conclusion, her own piece of advice that you never would have thought of. Like, so as you a person,
Mhm.
like let's say we just gonna use something crazy, right? So let's say I smoke crack, right? I got
Right.
kids. I don't want my kids smoke crack, right? So I'm like, hey,
Right.
don't smoke crack. But these kids gonna look at me and be like, hey, how you gonna tell
You
me
was
not to smoke
smoking
crack
crack.
and you smoking
Right.
crack? See, I'm giving advice. But what I should say is, you know what? I was kind of feeling down so low. I was feeling so low, and I ain't know what was going on. I was lost, and then I wound up doing this drug to help me cope. Blah blah blah, so forth, so forth. Instead of telling them not to do it, you tell them what
Right.
happened, your life story, and that will help them create their own answers. And then also, it'll help them see you as human instead of just mom. You know what I mean?
Is there a different route with that though? Because that was my life, and I didn't end up doing crack. But my thing is, what kept me away from like extreme shit besides weed was the fact that I remember begging my mama to stop doing the extreme shit. Like,
Right.
why does it have a hold on you? Like, you see me begging you to like stop doing this shit, and you don't give a fuck how we feel. So I guess that's more so.
Yep.
Is there a different angle from that? Like you get
Now, no, because you'll tell her in a way that she can understand based on her age. But you can, like you just told us, like, one of the reasons you ain't do it is because you grew up like that and you ain't want that. You see how it affect the family. And I say the same thing. One of the reasons why I didn't do crack is because I saw listen, I'm not trying to be standing up, sleeping, robbing my own
right.
family, all that weird stuff. So you talk about these things like that. We don't want to share the traumas of our life, but that is how the healing comes from speaking these stories, sharing these stories, and allowing other people to create their own answers based on our stories. So, is there another way? Probably, right? But I'm a straight shooter. So the easiest way I'm gonna tell you is just be straight up. You know what I mean? Now I trust you to know, like, depending on how old she is, you ain't just gonna say it straight raw dog. You feel me? You would tell it for age appropriate. But other than that, just be vulnerable and and
I'm
realistic
still
in
here.
telling your story. You say you scared?
I said I'm still here.
Okay, cool. And something that's important that I think as we have this conversation is I talk a lot about emotions and feelings, right? So
Mhm.
emotions are normal. They are natural. They like anger, all that stuff is just natural. Now feelings are the stories that we tell ourselves. So be mindful of your feelings and the stories that you
Right.
tell yourself. You feel me? So you start telling yourself to be afraid to tell your child that, then that becomes the truth. But that may not be the truth, right? You just tell yourself a
Right.
different story. So, other than the influence one, is there anything that kind of sticks out to you?
Um, the battle, the battle. That's
That
really
influence
like
one
the
is
biggest
big on you
one.
right
Yeah.
now, and I think
Yeah,
so.
it's
Your
really
worry,
big. It's
yeah,
just, the past and like the person I am today is just not who I used to be. I found out a whole nother way to take what I've learned, turn that negative into a positive. And I think, because I don't, let me see, because of how vulnerable I was back when I was living this lifestyle, I just don't want to, like you said, people can't let go of my past. You get
no, I
what I'm
can't.
saying? They
Yep,
still see me for who I used to be, not who I am now. So, um, I probably just don't want my mother, like to be a mother, to be my label though. Like that's not who I am either. Like
that's
I'm
not all
killing
you
it, but
are.
that's
Yep,
not me.
I
So I don't
agree.
know. There's that.
That's good because, like I said, as you share more of yourself, that's why I said as you become more vulnerable, people start seeing you as a person. Like your kids will be able to see you as more than a mom. They can see you as a woman. They can see you as a human being. Because parents be trying to come off like they ain't make no mistakes and they got all the answers, but that's not true. You feel me?
Right.
So, and I think the worrying is huge on you too. I feel it strong because like I won't give you a hug, but I think just being able to admit that you worry, and when you see or when you feel that worry rise, you tell yourself something else. You create new feelings by telling yourself a new story. You know what I mean?
It's the lack of having a safe space though. Like, um as humans, we need that safe space. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have yet to have that safe space. My safe space was a threat. You get what I'm saying?
I
So
got it.
ever since I save myself from that situation is I wouldn't allow myself to be back in that position where, I can be vulnerable enough to even believe I have a safe space. So I'm knowingly living life, trying to be positive, trying to keep a smile, but I know for a fact there's no safe space at the end of the day. It's like it's a never ending. It's like living to die, basically.
Okay. So the funny thing, it's funny that when I first started doing this, one of the things we did was 7 spaces of healing, right? And that safe space was huge, right? The one thing that I can tell you when it comes to safe spaces, one, you have to flesh out what that vision looks like. So, what does a safe space for you look like? And you write down the words. You think about the last time you felt safe, and then you understand that the first safe space that you create will be the one that you create for yourself, right? Because the temple, all the healing, the temple of through your tears, you'll be healed. The temple of our Father lies within. So the first place you start is yourself. So do the things that make you feel safe for you, not outside. Like what makes you feel safe internally. A good meal might make you feel safe internally. Taking risk might make yourself feel safe internally. Like you said, one of the things that made you feel I'll say this: you created an LLC. That is trying to create some sort of stability in your life to create that safe space, right? So, look at yourself. Okay, hold on. Did you leave? Boot, boot, boot. Okay, that's you still on screen. I got you. You still there?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Okay. I'm sorry about that.
Nope, you good. I was saying that mostly the
About
first
the
place.
safe space.
Yep, you create them for yourself first, right? And one of the things that you wind up having to do, especially with the people who cannot see you moving into that new space, is you leave them behind. I have no lie. I got a college roommate, and every so often I look at my man and I be like, I'm so glad I didn't have to leave you behind because he understands as I change, his vision, his view of me changes and grows as well. You feel me? So you want to keep those people, but as you create this safe space for yourself, there are people you're gonna have to leave behind. The healing is your own, the creation is your own, and once you learn how to create it within yourself, you'll become better at recognizing the safe spaces that you need to put yourself in.
Healing in itself is so underrated. Like I don't think people acknowledge like how much like finding and losing.
Oh, come on back. I'll wait for you, girl. You be back. Boom, 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 boom. All right, be patient with us, family. We had a little drop on the call. But if you haven't seen a live energy reading, that's generally how they go. They're pretty painless. It gives us space to be able to identify some of the energies that you interact with and some of the ways and directions you need to grow and heal yourself, right?
Exit out and come back in.
I got you. It's all good.
Okay.
All right. So, and I'll give you a pat on your back, right? Because you are a lot better than you give yourself credit for recognizing a safe space, right? Where your
Right.
growth needs to be in is choosing that safe space, right? And I say this because you came to do this show. The only people who are willing to go on live and have their energy reading are the people who recognize this as a safe space. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you know me outside of this, and you know me in ways that other people don't even know me either, right? You know what I mean?
You're a safe space for me.
Right. And you recognize that even in the world of online, because this is live, we don't know who watching this or whatever, you still
Right.
know that I'm going to create a safe space for you. Even the people that are watching and on this whole thing, we all understand it's a safe space. People have cried on here,
Right.
people have shared everything. So you are
It's heavy. It's deep. I can see why. It's definitely deep. It's heavy. It make you
yeah,
think about stuff that you just normally probably like. Your main goal is to put it under, hide it, cover it up, bury it deep under, and then with certain questions that you ask, and it's like out of nowhere, like, oh, I haven't thought about that in years,
right.
you know.
One of the first things I tell people to do in this process is give themselves permission again, and ask permission to feel all those things that you put away, all those things that people has taught you. Like I remember when I was growing up, people used to think my kindness was going to be taken for granted as I grew older. So people tried to get that kindness out of me. You know what I mean? But I know
Right.
that kindness it wasn't that people take advantage of it. You know what I mean? Kindness is my gift. It's what will I choose with this gift? How will I use this gift? So I recognize now I'm moving back to my kind self because they had good intentions, but their ideas, they built their identity off their traumas, right? But we know we bigger than what
Right.
happened to us. We
Right.
bigger than that. So we don't build our identity just on what was trauma. You know what I mean? So we move beyond that. Let me see.
I feel that.
All right, let's see how your let's see how your throat doing. Right. To see how you communicate. Out of all of them, you doing the most talking. Let's see what's going on with that. Okay. Good thing is you still creative. Okay. You still creative. Um. So you are figuring out ways to express yourself, right? And that is through your words, your actions. You want to be able to communicate and express your feelings in a way that is healthy, for a lack of better words. So right now, I feel like a lot of your actions can be retaliatory. You know what I mean? Like something happened, you snap back. You know what I mean? Or you make a decision trying to avoid that snap back or something like that. But you're struggling with figuring out a way to be able to express yourself, your new self, really. Um, you are in a space where you are shaping your truths, what is true to you. I told you, still creative. Somewhere you dealing with an energy that feels like you're speaking too much. You talk too much. You dealing with an energy where people are seeing you as kind of boring in some aspects. Um, you are dealing with energy where, and this is one of the battles that you're dealing with expressing yourself. When you do express yourself, a lot of times people see you as critical, like you criticizing, and that's not
Hmm.
quite always how you trying to get your point across. You like it may sound a
Right.
little critical, but I'm not trying to necessarily criticize you. The one you really dealing with is you stubborn. Um, okay, so you, I can say you afraid to speak in public, but it's funny because you battling through that fear right now. Doo, 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 doo. And your dependency is bothering you. I don't
Mm,
know.
mm, mm.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. So, when it comes to dependency, um, I think we overvalue independence. So people
Mhm,
like, I don't want to have to depend on nobody, but that's an unrealistic
mhm.
expectation because there's always some point in life that you're going to have to depend on somebody, and most of the time
That's
it's
true.
damn strangers, right? So
That's
when
for
you're
sure.
dealing with your dependency, it is okay to have dependency. But you want to make sure that you're bringing something to the table so it creates a dynamic of interdependent. Well, we both need each other. We both depend on each other. We both, and not like a trauma bond, but in that sense of value and respect. Like you value what they do for your life, so you show them by doing stuff for their life, and they value that as well. You know what I mean? So
Mhm,
don't be so hard on yourself about being dependent. A part of that, you're supposed to be dependent in some aspects. You know what I mean? You just want to make
mhm,
sure that you are pouring out as well. You're not just receiving. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Which I don't think that you are. I just think you're too focused on the dependency part that you're losing sight of how much that you bring to an environment. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Um, doo-doo-doo. Any one of the other ones kind of stand out to you?
I'll just sit here and agree with like all of
All of them. Okay. All right. So the one I say, girl, you got to work on your stubbornness. Um,
I do.
you do.
I do.
And it's funny because I recognize this stubbornness because I had it. I had that stubbornness where you ain't finna tell me shit. You ain't finna tell me I can't do. You ain't finna. I was
Mhm.
stubborn. You like and I remember when I got it. I remember I was a kid and they ain't listen to me. And I remember being like, wait till I get big, a motherfucker ain't gonna be able to tell me shit. You
Okay.
feel me? And I
That's
live
the
like that.
one.
You feel me? But that stubbornness puts you in a box. It winds up becoming a prison for you where
But
you
I didn't
can't.
get it. I didn't receive that type of stubbornness until I had my kids. Like, once they handed me my daughter, put her in my arms, it was over. I had to be stubborn because shit couldn't play with me no more. That's where I had to turn into an animal, literally. Like, what? It wasn't no turning back, and I ain't never been the same since I had my baby.
Okay, so one of the things that we do on this healing path is rebuild our relationship with words, right? So I think the way you describe what you just talked about is stubborn, right? But there's something
Okay.
else we can call it. It may not be stubborn, and if you move from something else, then you may not be coming off as stubborn. So, like for example, you said you
What if
became a
I
mom.
chose that attitude as my survival mechanism, though? That's how I decided that that is how I was going to be, though, because I was a little butterfly. I
Right,
used to kick it. I really didn't care. There was no value. I had no reason. I had no point. Like, there was no purpose. You feel what I'm saying? And once
right,
I received this purpose, that's where that's where I gained that attitude where it was like I'm not playing with nobody else. Like ain't no borrowing out no money. I can't afford to give nobody nothing. I can't just sit there and waste my time. Just you know, I used to be an adventure. I used to be an adventurer at one
right.
point in time. Like I can't afford to have adventure time anymore. I might not end up making it back to my babies. Like
I got it.
and then it all boils back to that living in fear, living in worry.
There we go. So that's what I was getting ready to talk about. Many of us live in survival techniques is what we was raised on. We learn to survive, we even celebrate our survival. But the thing about that is those survival techniques are very opposite of thriving techniques. You get me?
Right,
So
right.
you like the understanding that you have once you got that baby, there's another level of importance, somebody else important in your life, right? So maybe it ain't stubbornness, right? And we're
Hmm.
gonna move from a space of surviving, and we're gonna try to think of what's a thriving word that
Right.
can help
Okay.
that. So, like instead of being stubborn, you can make better decisions. You feel me? And that's more thriving. Like I got this baby, I gotta start making better decisions. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that takes away a little bit of the energy of the stubbornness. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
You got me. So you definitely still will need boundaries. You definitely still will need all of those things. But we gonna find, and you may need to take some time and decide what that word is for yourself. Right. So on this
Hmm.
process, we had these questions. Like I might ask you a very simple question, but the answer sometimes could be hard. So like I could say like, what's a thriving word you can use other than stubborn? And you be like, damn, that seemed like I should be able to pull up a word easily, but you may need some time to be able to process that for yourself. You know what I mean?
Assertive.
I don't know. I don't think that quite describes it.
Determined.
That could be a good one. Like I said, because that's in line with better choices. So determined is a good one, and determined is a little more gentler than stubborn,
Hmm.
and that allows you to be a little gentler on yourself. Because the thing about that is, when you that stubborn, that means you that hard on yourself too. You know what I mean? So one of the things is to be a little empathetic, the forgiveness, the gentleness you give everybody else, is to give
Hmm.
that to yourself as well, right?
Absolutely.
So take some time and think about that. What's a new word to be able to describe? Determine is good, but you might think of some other ones. You feel me? Do 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 do. So one I do want to help you on is your criticizing. So as you are trying to communicate things to people, now there is sometimes people it don't matter. Like when they say it ain't what you say, it's how you say it. That's a damn lie.
Right.
Sometimes, a lot of times, it don't matter what you say. People still gonna be. It is what you say. It ain't how you say it because there's no way you're gonna be
Right.
able to say it. So one way I can help you with that process is the same thing that I had to use. Um, it's really about being received. So what is more important to me than being heard is somebody understanding what the fuck I'm talking about. You feel me? So like, I don't need you to hear me. I
Exactly.
need you to understand, right? And when that become understanding becomes the importance, then you start looking at the person as a way. What's the way that they best receive this message? You know what I mean? So not everybody receives the message like straight up, bow, bow, bow. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
those people who be like, I'm an honest person. I just tell the truth no matter what. Those are very inconsiderate people. And they don't
Right.
care about their message being understood. They just want to be heard. Because if they cared about it being understood, then they say it in a way that the person can receive it. So that may mean you might have to ask the person sometime, and you'd be amazed how many people have never even thought about that. They're like, hey, how can I tell you something difficult that you makes it easy to receive? Don't wait till you in the minute.
Right.
You know what I mean? But while you getting to know people, have those conversations, you ask them, how do you receive things, difficult information? What's a good way to give you different information? So when that time comes, you can hold them accountable for what the fuck they said. You know?
Okay, give me an example.
So, okay, I'll give you an example. I
Okay.
remember it's a wild example too, so it's about to be extreme. I ain't even gonna lie to you. So I remember, I supervised women a whole lot in my life, right?
Okay.
And one of the more interesting conversations I've had to have with grown women, adult women, so I haven't supervised young little girls, right?
Right.
Is around period, right? So
Mhm.
I remember I had this one classroom building, and it had two bathrooms in the boy and girl bathroom. So the teachers had to use the bathroom like the kids. But my teachers started coming to me talking about one of the teachers was leaving period blood all over the toilet and stuff like that, right?
Oh yeah, good Lord.
Right. So I gotta have a difficult conversation, right? I'm a man. I gotta go look
Mhm.
this woman in the face and be like, "Hey,
Right.
you gotta stop bleeding on the toilet, bro."
Right.
there,
Right.
there is no nice. That's why I say sometimes it is what you say. It doesn't matter how you say it. So that's a lie when people say that. So I knew
Right.
no matter how I said it was going
Right.
to be difficult, right?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I had to go to her and be like, find out a little bit about herself, like what's going on in your life. Make sure she ain't stressed out or anything like that, and
Absolutely.
then
Perfect
ask her,
angle.
you know what I mean? Then ask her like, if everything's all right, you gotta be mindful, prioritize yourself, and then based on what they say is going on. Based on what she said was going on, it was easier for me to have that conversation. Make sure you're cleaning up, you know what I mean? And I didn't have to be so specific to talk about period blood because that would have embarrassed her. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because as soon as
Right.
I'd have been like, you got period blood on the toilet, her eyes would have popped out her head. She'd be like, I can't believe a man is
Right.
having this conversation. So that I could just talk about the cleanliness in the center itself so she can receive that
Right.
without
Okay.
feeling singled out. You know what I mean?
Yes. That makes complete sense.
All right. So let's see. Let's see how we doing with your heart, girl.
Oh shit.
That's how everybody feel when we get to the heart. But I give you credit because now I'm gonna have to get me a green pendulum because green is a heart color, and your instinct really wanted green. So I'm curious about.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so I tell you what this purple is after we look at
It
your
did. I
heart
was
though.
really sad when I seen that that was an option.
Yeah. So I get it because green is heart. Let's see how hard doing y'all. Girl, you gotta turn your heart back on. I'm gonna tell you that now. That's the least moving one of all of them.
Ah.
Whew. Okay, damn, girl. Okay, so good. The good thing
Don't hurt
is,
me.
I ain't gonna hurt you, girl. I promise you. I'm about to. I always start off with what's good. What I'm gonna tell you, you still a contagiously good vibe. So people can come around you and have the time of their life. So you still a contagiously good vibe. All right. Okay. Okay. And I dead serious, and I would like to see you show this more in your life, and I know that's just gonna be scary, but I personally think your gift is empathy. You are a very empathetic person. You don't show it. You don't always put yourself in situations that allow you to be that person, but I want you to prioritize that higher on your list so
Okay.
you can recognize those things. That's your gift. You an empathetic person. That's why you feel everything so intensely, and you be looking at other people like, why y'all don't feel it the same? Like, nah, that's your gift. You
Uh,
feel me? That's why you feel it so strongly, cause that ain't their gift. You
is
feel
that
me?
what I call being passionate? I've acknowledged I'm a very passionate person. Um,
I'm
it's
sure.
crazy. It's so scary.
I'm sure. So the good thing is, um, you got this. Okay, so I can tell you a mom because you have this feeling of being loved, right?
Mhm.
And you got you a space that you can give love. So you are loving, right? But you also struggling in those same things as well. So, and I think that's more for yourself. Being loved in a way that feels authentic and true to you. You still working that out and finding a space, that empathy, all that love you got to give that you be trying to play to the side that you don't want nobody. You really do want a space where you can be that person. You know what I mean? Where you can be as empathetic as you want. That's why it winds up showing through your children. That's why you value them because that's one of the safe spaces that you feel good. I mean, you feel safe enough about being as empathetic as you are. You feel me? Do do do. You dealing with entitlement. You dealing with jealousy.
Mm.
You struggling with blame.
Struggling with blame.
Yup. A blame of others and
Oh, I should have played down. I do.
some
Get
blaming
out.
yourself.
Get out. Get out.
Ooh. You struggle with this idea of giving too much. And you know the funny thing about that, whenever somebody struggles with the idea of giving too much, their first instinct is to give less. And that doesn't necessarily answer the problem. That's just suppression.
Right.
It makes more sense to find spaces that you can keep giving like that instead of give like only reason you feel like that because you're giving in the wrong spaces. You feel me? Um
Right.
what else we dealing with? You dealing with self pity. You dealing with fear of rejection. You dealing with neediness and clinginess and uncertainty. Now, I generally always have to talk about this idea of neediness and clinginess because everybody just immediately thinks it's negative, right? But in this incident, for real, and it's crazy. Your idea of neediness is this is the only way I can say it. You know how when people be saying, I don't need a man, I want a man. You recognize that it ain't want, that you need that dynamic in your life. Like you thrive off you you like you a man. And it ain't and it's funny, I think one of the things that keeps you from living authentically is that idea of I don't necessarily need them, I want them, but you recognize that man have a need function in your life. You know what I mean? Now, what that need function is, that's where your battle resides. You're like, I need that shit, and then it might also reside on
Wait,
you
start this shit over. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We talking like what is we talking about right now? What is
neediness.
the neediness?
Yeah,
Okay, and I need a man.
you recognize not that you
now
just
that
want them.
now that I'm a mother and I'm my whole role, and as of right now I
No,
am a woman, I would love to be way more in my feminine nature. What the fuck? Way more ladylike.
but it's the funny thing
What?
about that shit. You've always been that person. The difference is you just acknowledge it now that it's a need and not a want. Growing up, you like shit. I want like you. You just treat it
Oh
like
gosh.
socializing, treating it as a nigga something you want. So they seem expendable and all that stuff. But now that you grown, you older, you got kids, you realize that a good man is not expendable. That's just not that shit. One, it's hard to find that good balance, but they're not expendable. You know what I mean?
No, the good the it is not necessarily that they're expendable because there's good men out here. I think my thing would be I acknowledge where I'm a little rough around the edges too. We have to speak on accountability as well.
No doubt.
I've been through so much. I know I'm not, you know, I'm a broken bitch. What you dealing with me? Like what? I got triggers and shit. Like you know what I mean? But um let's start with the fact that if there's a guy that I can open up to, I'm not used to having a guy I can even open up to. You get what I'm saying? So,
Uh-huh.
and it's just on the minor scale,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
minor thing. You know what I mean? That just make up a whole relationship, which like that's just scary in itself. You know what I mean? No, every guy is not gonna be the same, but shit, it's levels to that shit.
Right.
You gotta. It's levels.
So what helped me is, and it's crazy as hell, is I had to look at the wounds of my parents, right? So their issues. So, like for example, my mama had a huge abandonment wound. Her mama died when she was 12, so she ain't really had no mama. She pretty much raised herself, right? So she was good at running, expressing emotion, stuff like that. She just didn't have. She just had an abandonment wound, so she was quicker to abandon motherfucking shit, abandon people, and abandon situations before fixing them and healing them, flex the wound. And I remember when I was growing up, I was like, I don't want to date nobody like my mama. But then I started this healing path, and I realized 99% of the women I dated had an abandonment wound too. You feel me? So when you're thinking about the type of dynamics that you want to be in with male relationships, you got to start recognizing which part of yourself is picking. Like, you know what I mean? So like, if you know it's good men out here and you know it's safe men out here, the question resides is why aren't you picking them? You get me?
Because
Because
I don't feel I'm their type. That's what I said. I accept the rough around the edges, and it has there's a certain guy for me. You know what I'm saying? Just any guy. I'm a little too rough for just any guy, but I don't know how to like. It has to be a guy that opens up my feminine side. You get what I'm saying? Because I don't just start off feminine.
no, you do. That's why I was getting ready to ask you why you talk about yourself like that. So, for example, you say you can't start off feminine, but why not? Or when you say you're a little rough around the edges, which is okay, but aren't you on the path of smoothing those edges out?
Absolutely.
So you not rough around the edges. You on the path of smoothing those edges out. And you know on this path that shit's forever. Cause all you gonna do is find new shit that
What
needs
it
to be
take?
fixed, or you gonna fix that and new stuff gonna happen that you need to be fixed. You know what I mean? So one of the things that I had to first do, and my friends had to point this out to me, is change my self talk. Change the way I talk about myself. Because my question is really, really, all that you survive, all that you've learned, all that you have to give, why don't you deserve something like that? Because you do.
I think I do.
You do. And the good thing is you recognize your triggers. And sometimes, and the thing about it is, somebody's still gonna step on your trigger. But now that you recognize it, and sometimes when you are triggered, you can take accountability and apologize for that. People understand that. You be like, I'm working on it, I'm trying to get better. People will understand that. So the grace that you give other people, give that to yourself. You deserve that same grace, love. You feel me? So you smoothing it out, and you deserve not even scratch. You don't deserve it. right? Because nobody deserves shit. What you
Right.
are is doing the work to create a space for that. You feel me? Now you doing the work, so that's how you gonna get it. It ain't gonna get because you deserve it. It's because you did the actual work to be able to create this safe space. You know what I mean? And
Right.
then the question that I always ask people, like we did, what do we want our love life to look like, right? So after we wrote down our list of what our love life look like, what we want our love life to look like, the next list we had to do is who do I have to be to get these things? You know what I mean? Because you know what you like to feel safe, but then what did that type of guy like? You feel me? And I promise you, you have all the skills you need. And this is one thing I give you credit for. You have an understanding of man that you don't give enough credit, that you don't give yourself enough credit for. You feel me? You do. You've interacted with men in a lot of different ways. Okay, hold on. Is you gone? Welcome back. Here we go.
My bad.
No, it's all good. I don't know if you heard it, but I was saying give yourself credit. You got an understanding of men that you don't give yourself enough credit for. You've interacted with men in various different ways, and you understand men way more
Oh
than
no,
you think you
after the
do.
last one, I pretty much stay away from them. I'm terrified.
Yeah, but
The
we ain't gonna
guys are
lose.
so weird.
Okay, but again, you gonna pick differently because we moving from that space of fear. You feel me? Because the only
So
one, the
I'm not
only
supposed to be living off fear right now, huh?
no, and that's a hard thing to do because once you recognize that you living in fear, you start seeing all the ways that fear show up. You know what I mean? So like for
Yeah.
example, one way that I talk about how people live in fear, they use this saying right here. I do this to protect my peace. That's a lie. You're doing that because you are afraid. You feel me? Because
Right.
this person has made peace the absence of conflict. And that's not the truth. In peaceful times, technically, we're in America, right? And we not at
Right.
war. Technically, we're in peaceful times, right? But who in here, who in America is gonna say that we are without conflict?
Right.
Peace is having the tools to be able to navigate conflict. That's where the peace resides. So, you know what I mean? You moving from that space, you got the skills, and you gonna move in a space of confidence where you talk about yourself. You do have the skills. You understand, man. You know how to pick a gentle man. You know how to pick a generous man, and you know how to be the type of person that can flourish in that relationship.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you know that about yourself. You done had that skill. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, child. This how I know you got that skill because everybody done met a sucker, and I know you done met you a few suckers. As a matter of fact, I ain't even lied to you. When I first met you, you was practicing on that skill. Now on how to navigate men, how to get things, receive things from them, all those things. So you got that skill. You know how to navigate shit to receive stuff from men. You know what I mean? And you understand better the type of man that will help you flourish. And part of that is learning more about yourself. So you got the skills. What is the clinginess is the other one I always got to talk about. So you recognize that you need that, right? The clinginess is the other one that people always think negative about. But when I tell you clinginess is just simply this, man. I'm a clingy person, right? So if I get something and I love it, I want to hold on that shit forever. I want to hold on to it forever. If I don't have to let go, I never will. So I'm comfortable with that clinginess. I understand that about me. So I try to make sure I pick situations that I want to hold on to forever, right? So you a sentimental person. You know what I mean? One of the
Right.
reasons our relationship is the way it is is for sentimental reasons because we
Right.
met so long ago. We've seen a lot. It's for sentimental reasons. So
Right.
you understand that you're a sentimental person. So when it's something that you value, you want to hold on to forever. So clinginess is not a down thing for you. It is a strength for you. You know what I mean? And I'm sure at some point somebody told you it was something to be like, "Nah, you too clingy," or it's something, but they don't know what they talk about. They function in their own traumas. We don't let other people define them, define us. We define ourselves. You feel me? So your clinginess is your gift. You want to hold on to something that's valuable and important to you for life, and that's a good thing. All right, this is your heart. Let me think. I kind of want to talk about entitlement and keep showing up, but I don't want to. I don't. I think.
Entitlement.
Yeah. So I think you probably the first person that I've dealt with that's kind of the entitlement is kind of reverse in a sense, and I think you said it a little bit earlier. Is where you don't think you're deserving of, or you know what I mean? Like you don't think because of some of the life you've lived, you don't think that some of these good things you want are in the cards for you. But you are entitled to it because you are doing the work. Doing the work. So, all right, your heart ain't that bad. Uh, I mean, it's a lot, but and you got to work on your fear of rejection too. Um,
Fear of rejection.
yeah.
Let's elaborate on that. What's up with
So
that?
you don't really go after what you want because you're worried about getting rejected by it. And you said it in a bunch of different ways. So you got to get on that. So like even when we was just talking about the dynamics of male female, you was talking about, you a little rough around the edges. You know what I mean? So that's speaking of fear of rejection. So you think the man that you would won't want you back because of what you've been through. But that ain't necessarily so. Because the man that you want may have been through those things too and has healed those things already. And you can't even tell. So, like, people meet me now. This one thing you know. You see me with this bow tie and this jacket. Yeah, I seem so professional, don't I? Right?
I
But
wanted to
you
say
know
something about that boy
firsthand.
a long time
Listen,
ago.
you know firsthand
Two
there's another
games
side of me
crazy.
that is so far from professional that people will
Two
be like,
games
yo,
crazy.
what? What is wrong with this dude? You feel me? You done seen, you know what I mean? And you ain't even seen, I done have people that seen it worse, but you done seen me head that way. So you know this bow tie and this jacket ain't
Yeah,
every day. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
You know I got
Yeah.
Tim's. You know what I mean? I ride with it. I'm one of those
Mhm.
people. I'm in North Carolina. We love guns. I got guns, all that stuff. So you know
Okay.
I'm one of those people. So you
I
know.
know.
You know. All right, let's see where your solar plexus is. And that is in your stomach. Your solar plexus is okay. Where my good card? Let me tell you what your solar plexus is good for. It is your power, your self-esteem, your strength, your ego, and your confidence. I make a lot of decisions from my solar plexus, my gut. Ooh, excuse me, I'm gassy.
That power word has been like so highlighted.
All right, let's see where it's at. Let's see if it come up. We can talk about that for sure. Where we on solar plexus? Let's see where the solar plexus at. All right, your solar plexus might be doing the best. Let's see. Ooh, okay, okay. You know what's funny? The first thing I read was respect for self and others. Um, I definitely feel like that's something that is growing in you. Your respect for yourself and others. Um,
Definitely.
You still got some confidence, which is good. Doo-doo-doo. You drive yourself crazy, but you still got your problem solving skills. You gonna solve a problem. You know what I mean? Now you might worry yourself to death solving that problem, but you gonna solve it. You oh man. Okay, so let's see what we're working on. So you are stubborn again, cause that shows up. But this stubbornness resides in yourself and is tied to critical. You are overly critical of yourself. You gotta definitely start talking to yourself a little gentler. You know what I mean? I know you've made mistakes. I know you experienced a lot, but some of those things help you to become the resilient woman you are. You know what I mean? So even though you want to make new decisions and better decisions, still give yourself a little grace on how long this process takes. Give yourself a little patience. Don't be so critical of yourself. Um, you got some procrastination going on, and the two biggest things that I feel like you're dealing with your solar plexus is self esteem and this feeling of being taken advantage of. So self esteem is a wild one because that's the one
Yeah.
I had to work on. Because a lot of times we confuse confidence with self esteem, which is funny because you still got confidence in the sense that you got confidence to take risk. You know what I mean? You take challenges, even though you say you used to be more adventurous and stuff like that. You still got the confidence to take like being on the show. That takes confidence to be on the
Right.
show. You know what I mean? So you still got that. Where self esteem, I put a post up about this before too, because in healing, we was all talking about building our confidence, but confidence ain't what we need to build. It was self esteem. So
Right.
self esteem is really just your ideal worthiness. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
when you talk about how you don't necessarily think you should get those things, or self esteem is when you go out here, you make a mistake, but you still know it's gonna be all right. You feel me? You don't
Right.
beat yourself about that. That's self esteem. Self esteem is what you think you deserve, and what you think you deserve is reflected in your choices. So, for example, I remember when I was dating, I'd pick a girl, and this used to drive me crazy. I'd pick a girl, and they'd be like, "Why would you date a woman like me?" And I used to be like, "Why would you think that about yourself? That's the craziest shit ever." I used to think that was so crazy. Like, why would you think that about yourself? But then I recognized they had a point.
Right.
Because why would I date a woman like that
Right.
when I've done what I've done in my life? But that's why I recognized my self esteem. I had a savior complex. I wanted to be a hero and all types of stuff. And I had low self esteem. So now I got old. I was like, you're right. I did have low self esteem based on the women I picked to date. You feel me?
Right.
And not to say that I'd picked terrible women, I definitely wasn't picking women who were healthy, healed, or good for me.
Right.
You feel me? They'd have shit together, but that's where your self esteem is about your ideas of worthiness. So you got to work on that and this taken advantage of. I think in some aspects of your life you have been taken advantage of, even wildly, and some of the things that you gave freely, people still took advantage of that, right? And I think that that worry of being taken advantage of is throwing you off. You know what I mean? Um, I would say you can worry less about being taken advantage of because Like I said, you've been doing the work. You've identified your triggers. You better at recognizing spaces that are good for you. All these things are spaces that can pour into you, give you, and you give it. So worry a little less about being taken advantage of. You know what I mean? And as you get more stable in your path, which I mean is on a path that you feel is right for you, then
Mm-hmm.
you'll worry less about being taken advantage of. And the funny thing about that is, I will say this right here. Some of that is from your experiences, but some of that is what you were taught too. So in the family dynamics, there was a worry about being taken advantage of. I'll give you an example. My aunt had that issue. She used to always talk about how kind hearted she was, right? And then she always
Right.
talk about people always taking advantage of my kind heart. So
Right.
indirectly, she was teaching the children, all of us, that people gonna take advantage of your kindness. So now we worried about being taken advantage of. And even though if our life never really like I never really got experience, I ain't have I felt like somebody took advantage of me? Yes. But that wasn't a normal in my life. But I still lived
Right.
my life as though that was the norm because of what I was taught. You know what I mean? So some of that taken
Right.
advantage of is from your own experiences, but some of that was given to you with good intentions. The people didn't want you to be taken advantage of, and sometimes they just did that in wild ways. I know when I was growing up, that people didn't want you to take advantage of you too kind. Their idea of getting the kindness out of you was beating you, whoopings. We gonna you too goddamn night. We gonna whoop your ass or being something. You like, listen, you can't beat everything out the kid. You
Right.
feel me? So yeah. Do any one of those kind of stick with you? Or are you good?
Uh, it was like way in the front. You ran.
The the critical, the self esteem, taking advantage of, respect for self and others. You know what?
Now you pretty summed it up with
Okay.
all of those.
So one more I want to give you, and I just want to give you this because this word that I think is universally we all working on is this integrity. And the best example I can give you for integrity, because I ain't even realized that my homeboy gave it up, right? So we got this thing in Charlotte, and I know it's one up there too. Pull apart. So it's like your junkyard where you can go get the pieces off the car, and you go fix your own
Hmm.
car if you want to. So you go to a little pull apart. When we was coming up, my homeboy, whenever we went to pull apart, he ain't never pay for none of the stuff. He just walk out the door, right? So now we grown, and he actually do got the money to pay for the part, right? So he was in this space where he found this part, and he was finna walk out the door again, right? Because that's what he always did. But then he realized he's like, man, I can actually pay for the part. So he went and really paid for the part. And that's where he was talking about I was working on my integrity. Just because I can do something doesn't mean I should. So be mindful of
Right.
your integrity, especially when it comes to survival techniques. Because living in survival will make you go against your integrity all the
Right.
time. You feel me?
Right.
So be mindful of your integrity. It's important. Integrity is important to you, even though you may not have always done things with integrity. It is important to you because
Right.
you feel it. It sticks to you. Whether you've done it without it or with it, it sticks to you. It just lingers
Right.
on you. All right, so we got two more left. We on your sacral. Sacral is pretty much your vagina. It's in that area right there. It's below your belly button, but it covered that too. So here we go. Let's see how you doing. Let's see what your sacral doing. Oh no. Okay, it's moving, but you definitely going through some stuff. Okay, so good. You still friendly. You can be friendly. Let me say that. You said it, and I was getting ready to say you are a passionate person. You still playful, and you naturally flirty. Oh God. So you do. You are dealing with issues with your sexual fulfillment, and
What the fuck is that? What that mean?
are you feeling fulfilled when you have sex? Satisfied? The sex fulfilling you? Like this was enjoyable. I
I
felt
don't
good.
have sex.
Okay, so that's why you having a problem with your sexual fulfillment. You feel me? All right. So I don't. Yeah. Okay. Um, you playful. You naturally flirty. Okay. You dealing with a need for power, and I don't necessarily know if power is the right word. It feels more like control. So for you to feel safe,
I have the control.
oh, okay, and that's a problem because you probably you
Right.
using it wrong.
Over overbearing.
You say you overbearing.
I said the power. I mean I have the control and it's overbearing.
You don't want the control.
It ain't that I don't want the control. The control is the like when you actually have the control, you acknowledge how the control is too much or like just really a lot.
It's burdensome. I think something that'll help you with your sexual fulfillment, especially if you're in this space of not having sex, is really take some time and think about your ideas with sex and what's important to you. And so, for example,
Sex isn't important to me.
you said it isn't,
Not really.
but it is because you off.
With the right
So,
person.
okay. See, now that's a very different thing than saying sex isn't important. And that's exactly the example I was going to give you. I recognize, okay, so one, I had to recognize how many decisions I made with my penis. I make a lot of sacred decisions, and I recognize a lot of times I've had sex or intimacy. Well, I ain't really want to have that in the first place. I'm like, I ain't really want to do this anyway. You know what I mean? So I had to,
Right.
one, be honor myself. So I only do it when I want to do it now, right? And then the other
Right.
thing that I had to recognize is I've recognized that a lot of times the women that I've dealt with, they felt like their body was the best thing that they can give me. And I realized that my self esteem was so low that I'd take it, right? But really, the best thing that a woman could give me is her heart. You feel me? And
Right.
the heart is the most magnetic thing. So I recognize a lot of women will give you their body, but they won't give you their heart. And I recognize that my low self esteem would think that shit was okay. So now I recognize that I'd rather get a woman's heart first, and then I'm guaranteed to be sexually fulfilled, right? So that can be
Right.
the thing that sex doesn't matter. I'm just being transparent. I'm a freak. I'm nasty. So sex is important to
Right.
me. You feel me?
Right.
But
Right.
just with anybody, with somebody I care about, makes it all the better. You know what I mean? So when you think about
Right.
that, your sexual fulfillment probably resides in a relationship that you feel safe. You know what I mean? So it's not that sex isn't important to you. And then also, like I said, you got to start thinking about how you've used sex before. You know what I mean? So, for example, one of the next words that I was going to say is manipulation. And a lot of times people use sex as manipulation. I can say that for myself. Like if I'm dating you and you and I are going through tough times, one of the first things I do, like you getting on my damn nerves, the last thing I want to do is have sex with you.
Damn.
And that's manipulative. That is misuse of power. That is using sex like a weapon. You feel me? And I had to recognize that too. So you got to start thinking about how you used sex before. You know what I mean? And how you view sex, and how is that in alignment with how who you want to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because sex is important to you because it's showing up and you're not fulfilled. Doo doo doo. So I was gonna say the need for power. We talked about the control, the manipulation. You dealing with some manipulation. Um, which is funny too, because I was gonna say you craving. So you okay, so that's what it is. Up until this point, sex has been a tool for you, right? And now you're at a point where you're moving beyond sex being a tool and you really want fulfillment. So the next word I was gonna say is you craving, and that craving is that loving that fulfilling relationship that you want. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because of how you ever used sex in the past. So woo, you're gonna have to really take some time to think about your ideas of sex, and if you've actually been manipulative, and then really start thinking about what you really crave. So, like you said, sex don't matter, and that ain't the truth. You feel me? And what you really crave is a safe
Well, you know
relationship.
what I meant. You
Yeah, I
know what I
got you.
meant.
Yeah. So, but I got you. So that's this the whole process is we fleshing it out. You know what I mean? So when you having that
Hmm.
conversation to yourself, when you say it, you want to make sure that you saying the right thing too. That's all this is
Right.
practice because you'll say it because this is what I generally tell people. You think about it and you get your first solution. Then you think about that some more. Then you get another solution. And then you think about that second solution. And when you get to the third solution, you probably find the issue. You feel me?
Right.
Doo, doo, doo. You got some guilt you dealing with. Um, and this one is funny. And I'm sure nobody, I don't know what nobody is. I don't know what nobody thinks. So this one is just very unique to me. But you dealing with issues of being shy. And I don't know you be shy, but I can see it happening.
I don't know me to be shy either. What am I shy about?
I don't know. I'm gonna try to think about it. Where is
Me
your
too.
shyness reside? And you're gonna have to think about it. Um. Okay. So let me see. Let's use. We're gonna use this as an example. No, scratch. Let's say you see somebody you really, really, really want, right? But they seem the opposite of you. How do you approach that situation? Do you still talk to that person, or do you brush it off, or
I let that person know how I feel.
you say something?
Yeah.
When you got some shy people around you, is somebody not confident enough to be able to share their feelings with you?
Hell if I fucking know, because at that point, wouldn't it be a mystery? They ain't willing to tell me. I
Could
wouldn't
be,
know.
but the thing that okay, so yes, what you saying is true. It would
Who's
be a
shy?
mystery, but
Who's shy?
outside of that,
Because it
that's
could be, because it could be somebody that like me
it. Could be,
and shy and won't tell me.
could be. So that's what
Mhm.
I was gonna say. Stop paying attention. Because your intuition, your third eye tell you like something, and you might not be able to say that they like me, but you might be able to say something different. Something's off. Something's a little different, and then you just dig into that different, and you might get to they like you. Or it might be like that for somebody else. Like it might be somebody that you really really like, and you just kind of put them in the back burner. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't got no time to fuck with that person. So I don't think I definitely do get a vibe. It's something around you, but I get a vibe. It's in you too. Do, 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 do. Um, the guilt one feels heavy. It don't feel internet appropriate. So I don't know
Mm-mm.
where your guilt resides. but you have some guilt that you are dealing with.
Mm, I don't know.
You know, that's all right. You take some time to think about it. Like I said, you ain't gonna have all the answers now. And I think about it too, because if it come to me in a weird hour, I'll inbox you with something. Because it happened, I'll be taking a shower or something tomorrow
Yeah,
morning.
only thing is, about that situation you're familiar with, and I agree. Not internet appropriate.
Oh, the one that we talked about a little bit earlier when I was like, F that person.
Not that situation from back in the day.
Okay, cool beans. I got you. I got you.
Hmm.
I got you. Okay. You know, which is good about that. I'm glad you said that. Um, because what is that thing on guilt cycles? We talked about that as one of the curses that we deal with, and the blessing of that guilt cycle is self compassion
Right.
and emotional freedom.
I
So,
think that's the main one, emotional freedom.
yup, give yourself permission to feel those things. And I know I don't know everything, but I know a little bit of you around that time. Give
Hmm.
yourself a break. This is the reason why I was like, F that other person that I told you about
Hmm.
earlier. Because I knew you then.
Right.
Girl, you was trying to just survive. And you and even though you was trying to survive, it definitely had times where it questioned your integrity. But I know
Hmm.
you never really intentionally want to hurt anybody. You really a lover. You just haven't been in a lot of situations where you been able to be the lover you were meant to be.
Right.
You feel me? So I do want you to. The other thing that I was gonna say is shame and guilt cycles, but the one that I want to talk about with you is unresolved grief, right? Now,
Hmm.
how you handle that unresolved grief,
That was in there too.
yeah. So no. We talking about because we talking about the guilty thing, right? So that
Hmm.
guilty comes from unresolved grief. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the way you wind up helping yourself with that unresolved grief is you will heal through mourning that and remembrance. You know what I mean? So how some people, especially if you in the witchy, if you in the witch, an altar will do that for you. You can create an altar
Hmm.
to be able to allow you to remember that moment, and you can honor those that came before us. You feel me?
Yeah.
So create a space that you can honor yourself. You can honor that relationship. You can honor, give yourself forgiveness. You can do all types of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's where you'll deal with the grief through mourning and remembrance, and that's gonna help you with that guilt. Okay, let's see what else we working on.
That was heavy.
That was, and I think we did. I think we did a very good job talking about it
It's really heavy.
online. But that definitely is not. Internet wasn't a. I okay, okay, okay. So now I'm gonna say this. That's why I was like F that girl, because ever so often I met that girl through you, right?
Hmm.
And every so often, after all that stuff happened, every so
Hmm.
often, I wind up seeing her on social media and
Hmm.
stuff. And I've seen her specifically talk shit about you too. And I used to be
Hmm.
like, yo, who the hell does she think she is? Cause I met y'all together. I met you through her. So wherever she was at in life, you was there too, nigga. What is you talking about? Like, you feel
Right.
me? So one of the
Hmm.
reasons I say that about her is because She went very judgmental.
Yeah, very
Extremely.
hidden envy.
Yeah,
Like it's always been that way.
I can believe it.
And I just be like, adventure time. You know me, smoke a little weed, I'll be ready to roll
I got you.
in the wind. So
Yeah. So yeah, later for her. She has no room to talk. The hell with that. Okay, so now we're on the last one. We on your root chakra. So depending on if you're standing or sitting, if you're sitting, it's your tailbone. If you're standing, it's your feet.
I'm like, it's my feet.
So cool. It's your feet. Let me see. Let's see how your root is. At least your root moving a little bit. But we're gonna see. Girl. Ooh shit. You gonna have yeah. Nah, I was gonna say, girl. You gonna have to do something about you and sex. You really gonna have to reshape your ideas of sex. Your relationship with sex, that is one of the biggest words I had to rebuild my relationship was hope. I really lived
What
on
did it say?
hope is for suckers.
What did you just read?
Sexually inadequate.
What the fuck did you just read?
Sexually inadequate. That's the word I read. And I was like,
Um,
girl, you gotta do something with your sex. You got
I can
sex.
see, I can see how that's in there.
So yeah, you got some issues. And it's not that it's issue, it's really your views on sex and how sex has been a part of your life. Your relationship with sex. So that's yeah. Cause it ain't that you inadequate. You just got an inadequate relationship with it. So, okay. Surprisingly, you do not surprisingly, but you do have a sense of belonging in this world, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you definitely feel alive. Um, although which is crazy, and I'm about to say it too. One of the words that feel like you a little more centered than you give yourself credit for. And the way that I say
Yeah.
that is we went through those chakras and pretty much they was pretty much close. Now, of course, you can do a little bit more, but the shake of them was pretty much close. So you still feeling centered. Um, you got a big ego that is messing with you.
Boom,
You
boom.
your ego is huge. You dealing with some frustrations. You being a little bossy. You being a little
Of course, that's
domineering.
my favorite word.
Yeah, but that's just got you out of alignment. And that
That bossy
bossy,
shit.
yep, that bossy is tied to your
Mm-hmm.
sense of control. And one I was going to say for you is we confuse the familiar with safe. And your safety is when you feel like you have control. You know what I mean? Which is okay, but
Mm-hmm.
you just said it. That control comes with a whole new level of responsibility that you don't always want either. You know what I mean? Um,
Oh, it locked me out.
that's pretty much it though. Your ego, you bossy, you domineering, you have feelings of your sexual adequacy and your frustrations. Good, you're not feeling violent and you're not being cunning, which is good. You're not out here being really sneaky on people. And surprisingly, you're not being too greedy. But yeah, the bossy, the domineering, the inadequacy, the frustration, and I was gonna say feelings that unloved thing. It shows up again, but I just really think that's just you giving yourself the permission and space to be able to love again, because it is risky, and I think you think about that risk a little bit more than you should. because you a confident person. So you know what I mean. One thing you're gonna do is take some risk at some point. So it's okay. And you are a real loving person. So you lead with your heart and how loving you are, and you trust your judgment and your choosing, and you'll be all right. Do-do-do. All right, any one of those stick with you too much? You good? About your trust too. You got some stuff going on with your trust too.
Huh?
I say you got some stuff going on with your trust too. That's self and
I
others.
do.
So you have to trust yourself a little bit more. And
That's
that trust of
true.
others is like that other one. It is a mix between,
My
like,
trust in others don't exist.
yeah, that's all I
People
was
is
gonna say. That's a mix
living out
between,
there.
that's a mix between your experiences and how you was raised as well. Like people were untrusting people, so they taught you, like, we always taught you can't trust strangers. But in your own
Right,
life, that's exactly who you got to trust sometimes. So don't trust strangers that ain't fit
right,
for your life no more. I'm like, so many times strangers helped me. That was the craziest thing they should have taught me. They should have taught me these are the strangers. This is how you can tell you can trust this stranger instead of telling me don't trust strangers.
right.
You feel me?
Absolutely.
So you
That's
gotta
the one.
figure out the trust is yours and what was given to you with good intentions or even bad intentions. You don't even care about the intentions. You just want to make sure it it ain't yours. All right. So that is the energy reading. How you feel about that?
That's a wrap.
Right.
Did I pass the test?
How you feel? You know what I mean? Like it's all depends on
Shit.
you.
Like I graduated the
I know
fuck.
that's right.
I
Well, that's
feel
good.
good.
That's good. That means we were able to identify some things.
What is that for?
And I'll say this too, cause then we can wrap up after this. This is just one time. We've been friends for a long time, so do not ever hesitate to reach out to me. You know what I mean? And we can do this again or whatever. And as you talk about your LLC and all that stuff, as you trying to flesh out that, you can use me for that too. Because one, I create businesses, and literally for my life right now, I help businesses keep their business in business. You know what I mean? So I can support you in achieving your own dreams, and it won't burden me none because you on the path too. So like I ain't got to stop to help you out. You feel me? You on the healing
No,
path too. So don't hesitate to lose. I mean to use me. And
absolutely. This was just an experience in itself. Crazy way for us to like catch up like this. That's so irritating.
I like that comment. It's all good though. So but now we
But I love it
reconnected.
though.
No doubt.
And I'm open to it.
So we reconnected. Just reach out to me. I'll reach out to you. You know what I mean? So again, like whenever you want to talk about this energy stuff, we can. Whenever you want to talk about your LLC, you know what I mean? If you're trying to flesh out your next move, just holler at me. You know what I mean? I'm a good sounding board. And
Yes, because I'm out here just doing shit. I'm a
I
travel agent. It's some more shit. Like, I'm just doing stuff. I can't take
seen the
it.
travel agent shit too. I was like, girl, she trying to do
Yes,
everything.
just doing shit.
That's
Like,
all right.
uh.
I'm glad you recognized that because it's funny because it's somebody that was in the audience, and I'll be telling them that friend Toddy. I'll be telling her like people just out here just doing shit. They don't got no vision for their life. Just be doing shit, just random shit that don't go together. I'll be like,
Me as fuck.
I'll be a bus driving nail technician. Like that don't even go together. How you do that shit? So, but I
Yes.
on another note, I love you. I value you. You've always been, I mean, not always been important because I ain't known you always, but you've been an important figure in my life. That's why we always reconnect. So I definitely think this is a great opportunity. You know what I mean? We stay reconnected or whatever, whenever you need this point. I just want you to know that you are valuable to me and you important and you always have. I mean, dead serious, you helped make you one of the reasons I was able to stay in Milwaukee when I was there. Because other than that, I was like, I need to get up out of here. You know, Milwaukee, this is its own place. You know what I mean?
I know. I
It's
was
its
so
own
sad when
beast.
you left. I couldn't believe that.
I was sad too because I
I
love
love you
Milwaukee.
too.
So, but hug on the babies for a little bit, and I'll reach out to you. I'll check on you tomorrow, see how you doing, and we'll go
Okay.
from
Good
there.
night.
I appreciate you participating in the Soul Swami show. The Soul family appreciate you, and
Thank you for having me.
all right, thanks for everything, love. All right, family. So we are going to wrap up tonight's show. I hope that was fantastic. If you have never seen a live energy reading, that's pretty much how they go. So I hope you enjoyed. Next week, well, Thursday, I hope to have you back for book club, and we will continue reading Razor Blade Tears, which has been a dope book so far. And if you can't make it Tuesday, I hope to have you back here next. I mean, you can't make it Thursday. I hope to have you back here next Tuesday for another episode of Soul Swami Live, and we will wrap up our spiritual body. Again, family, I appreciate you for your time and your energy and all your love, and I will catch you later, family. Peace.